murder suspect dies after a police chase spanning over 150 miles. Good evening and thanks for joining us here at Township Police Department with what we're learning about how all of this unfolded. Lindsay.
Yeah, good evening, Chris. So neighbors say they heard gunshots ring out just before 7 o'clock this morning. And since then, what transpired over the next few hours actually crossed state lines and have left the community shaken.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency?
Yes, someone's dead.
Springfield Township police officers called to a home on Lincoln Avenue after reports of a shooting. The victim, 33-year-old Lacresha Black, was found dead outside the front door of her home.
Have you ever wondered how quickly a normal day can turn into something unimaginable? How a single moment shatters the illusion of safety? Imagine a Monday morning in Springfield Township, Ohio. Just another start to the week. People heading to work, kids getting ready for school. The kind of morning where you might be sipping your coffee, not a care in the world. But that's exactly what makes what happened here so unsettling. Because on that morning, everything changed. We're talking about Lacresha Black, 33 years old, sharing her home at 2179 Lincoln Avenue with her wife, Terea Brown. And on that Monday, she was gone. Found outside her home with gunshot wounds. Just like that, dead. Can you imagine? The normalcy of your street, your neighborhood, ripped apart in an instant. Imagine your regular Monday morning. Then everything shatters. That's what happened here. And it started with the silence of a typical morning. The police arrived, the yellow tape went up, and the quiet was broken. But the questions, those were just beginning. What happened to Lacresha Black? And what drove someone to do this in broad daylight? Did anyone notice anything off? Was there a sound, a disturbance, before the gunshots? Let me know in the comments if you were there, what would you have noticed? And here's where it gets more complicated. Because this wasn't just a local tragedy. It set off a chain reaction, a chase that would end hundreds of miles away. But before we go there, let's stay here in this quiet street and try to understand what happened in those final moments before the storm broke. Welcome to Viral True Crime Stories, where we bring you the most compelling and heartbreaking true crime cases. Every story we share is based on real events that deserve to be heard. Please support us by subscribing to our channel and hitting the notification bell icon so you never miss an important story. Springfield Township, located in Hamilton County, Ohio, is a suburban community known for its residential neighborhoods, parks, and recreational facilities. The township offers a variety of amenities, including local schools, shopping centers, and community events, contributing to a family-friendly environment. Regarding safety, Springfield Township has experienced challenges with crime rates. Between 2010 and 2014, the age-adjusted intentional injury rate was 803.8 per 100,000 residents, and the age-adjusted homicide rate was 8.7 per 100,000 residents. In terms of gun violence, the age-adjusted firearm-related injury rate was 70.5 per 100,000 residents during the same period. These statistics indicate that while Springfield Township offers a range of community amenities, residents should be aware of and address the area's safety concerns. A life cut short. Lacresha Black, 33 years old, found dead outside her own home. But who was she? Not just a name in a news report, but a person, a life lived. She resided at 2179 Lincoln Avenue, Springfield Township, Ohio. A place that on any other Monday would have been just another address. But this wasn't any other Monday. This was the day she died. Neighbors, while not knowing them intimately, recognized them as a couple. Described Lacresha Black as quiet, kept to herself. Someone you'd see in passing, maybe exchange a quick hello. But beyond that, details were scarce. It's that everyday anonymity that makes what happened even more jarring, isn't it? One moment, you're just another face in the neighborhood. The next, your life is over, your name splashed across the news. But here's where it gets interesting. While outwardly she appeared to live a routine life, there were whispers. Whispers about tensions, about arguments. Things are not always as they seem. Did anyone see or hear anything out of the ordinary? What were the dynamics inside that home? Was there trouble that no one else saw? Let me know in the comments if you lived nearby, what would you have noticed? The police arrived, and the scene was chaotic. But even in the midst of the investigation, one thing was clear. Lacresha Black was gone. and the person responsible had fled. But why such violence? Was this a sudden act? Or was it something that had been building for a long time? And what led to her death being outside of the home? Was she trying to escape? Or was she being stopped from entering? And what does this say about the person who did this? And more importantly, what did they do next? Because what happened after Lacresha Black was found? That's where this story takes a turn. A turn that ends in a high-speed chase and another death. But what if Lacresha was trying to tell someone something before she died? What if she was trying to leave a message? Could that message be the reason behind the chase? Monday, early morning. Springfield Township, Ohio. 2179 Lincoln Avenue. A call comes in, shots fired. Officers arrive. And what they find? It's not what anyone expects. Lacresha Black, 33 years old, lying outside her home. Gunshot wounds. Multiple. It's clear almost instantly. She's gone. Pronounced dead at the scene. Just like that. The scene is processed. Evidence collected. But the questions, they're immediate. What happened here? And why? This wasn't a random act. It was targeted. It was violent. But what could have led to such a violent act in broad daylight? In a quiet neighborhood? Was it a struggle? Were there signs of forced entry? Or was she already outside? Waiting? The initial reports are stark. Gunshot wounds. No signs of forced entry. But here's where things get complicated. Witnesses report hearing arguments, voices raised, moments before the shots. But no one saw exactly what happened. And then, there's the position of her body. Why outside? Was she trying to get away? Or trying to stop someone from leaving? Did she try to run? Or was she ambushed? What were the last words she heard? And who spoke them? The police work quickly. But the answers are slow to come. And the biggest question, who did this? And more importantly, what did they do next? Because Lacresha Black's death was just the beginning. The next chapter, that's where the real story unfolds. A story of escape, a high-speed chase, and another life lost. But before we get there, let me ask you, what does it tell you that she was outside? What does that detail suggest to you? Who pulls the trigger? That's the question that hung over the crime scene. And the answer came quickly. Terea Brown, 42 years old, Lacresha's wife, was identified as the suspect in Lacresha Black's murder. But she wasn't there when the police arrived. She was gone. A dark-colored 2014 Chevrolet Cruze. That's the vehicle she fled in. Details were sparse but crucial. Every cop in the area was on the lookout. But where did she go? What direction? Was there a plan? Or was it a desperate, spur-of-the-moment escape? The regional alert goes out. Terea Brown, wanted for murder. A manhunt begins. She vanishes. Just like that. But where to? Did she have help? Was there someone waiting? Or was she alone? Driving, knowing she had to get away? The police are searching, but she's already ahead of them. And here's where it gets more unsettling. This wasn't just a quick getaway. This was a calculated move. A drive that would take her across state lines. But why? What was she running from? Or was she running towards something? What was in that car? What was her mindset? Did she intend to get caught? Or did she have a final destination in mind? And here's the twist. The police weren't the only ones looking for her. Someone else was searching. Someone who knew Terea Brown. Someone who might have known where she was going. What did they know that the police didn't? And why did they want to find her? Was this a domestic dispute that turned deadly? From Springfield Township, Ohio to Clinton County, Indiana. That's the path Terea Brown took. Hundreds of miles. A cross-country flight, not by plane but by car. A 2014 Chevrolet Cruze, carrying a woman on the run. The timeline is crucial. She leaves Springfield Township shortly after the shooting. And then, she's on the highway, heading west. But why Indiana? What was she thinking? Was there a specific destination? Or was it a desperate attempt to put as much distance as possible between herself and what she'd done? To get there, she had to travel through multiple towns on multiple roads. Did anyone see her? Did she stop anywhere? Did she make contact with anyone? Were there any witnesses that saw her erratic driving? Why Indiana? That's the question that lingers. Was it random? Or was there a connection? Was there someone waiting for her? A safe haven? Or was it a place to disappear? And the longer she drove, the more desperate she became. But here's the thing, she wasn't alone. She was being tracked. The police were on her trail, but they were not the only ones. Someone else was following her, someone who knew her, someone who knew where she was going. But what did they want? And why were they so determined to find her? Were they trying to stop her? Help her? Or something else entirely? And the closer she got to Clinton County, the more dangerous things became. Because the chase wasn't just on the highway. It was also in her mind. What was she thinking in those final miles? What was her final play? And what happened when she was finally spotted? Spotted. Clinton County, Indiana. The 2014 Chevrolet Cruze. Terea Brown. Indiana State Police. They had her. The chase was on. A high-speed pursuit tearing through the quiet Indiana landscape. Speeds exceeding legal limits. A desperate attempt to escape. The officers were relentless. They weren't going to let her get away. But Terea Brown, she wasn't giving up. Every turn, every straightaway, a battle of wills. Imagine the adrenaline, the desperation. What was going through her mind? Was she thinking about Lacresha Black? Was she thinking about the consequences? Or was she just focused on one thing, escape? The chase wasn't just about speed. It was about control. Control of the vehicle, control of the situation. But the odds were against her. The police were closing in. And she knew it. The tension was palpable. Every second a gamble. Every mile a risk. But then something happened. Something that changed everything. A sudden move. A drastic action. What did she do? And why? Was it a last-ditch effort? Or was it something else entirely? A signal? A message? And then the unthinkable. A shot. Not from the police. From inside the car. Terea Brown. What was she doing? And what would happen next? One shot. From inside the car. Terea Brown. And then return fire. Troopers responded. The exchange. Fast. Violent. It was over in seconds. But the outcome irreversible. Terea Brown. Dead. The high-speed chase, the desperate escape ended in gunfire. A fatal confrontation. The investigation began immediately. What happened? Why? Was it a suicide by cop? Or a desperate act of resistance? The scene was secured. Evidence collected. The aftermath a mix of shock and grief. It ends in gunfire. So many lives lost. Lacresha Black. Terea Brown. 2 women, 2 lives intertwined in a tragic sequence of events. The police investigation revealed the timeline, the sequence of events. But why? That's the question that lingers. What drove Terea Brown to this? What was she thinking in those final moments? Did she have any regrets? Any last words? Did she ever consider turning herself in? Or was she determined to end it all on her own terms? What were the last thoughts that crossed her mind? Did she think of Lacresha? Did she think of the lives she was ending? And what about the shot she fired first? Was it a warning? A cry for help? Or a final, desperate act? What was she aiming at? And what was she trying to say? 2 families shattered. Lacresha Black's family grieving a life taken too soon. Terea Brown's family left to grapple with the consequences of her actions. The impact immeasurable. Lives changed forever. And the questions, they remain. Why? What drove Terea Brown to such violence? What was the breaking point? The motive still unclear. Was it a sudden act of rage? Or was it something that had been building for a long time? Did outside factors play a role? Was there a history of violence? Did anyone know about it? And what about the circumstances of Lacresha's death? Why outside of the home? Was it a struggle? A planned execution? Or a desperate attempt to flee? These are the questions that haunt this case. These are the questions that may never be fully answered. This isn't just a story about 2 individuals. It's a story about the wider implications of violence. The tragic consequences that can arise from unresolved conflict. How do we prevent these tragedies? What can we learn? What are the signs, the red flags that we often overlook? What can we do to help those who are struggling? What is the role of domestic violence in this case? Were there signs that were missed? Were there opportunities for intervention? Let me know in the comments, what do you think could have been done differently? And the human cost, that's what stays with you. 2 lives lost. 2 families are broken. And a community left to wonder, what if someone had intervened? What if someone had seen the signs? What if things had been different? And what if there was another person, someone outside of the police, that knew what was going to happen? What if they could have stopped it? And why didn't they? The loss is especially complex as Lacresha and Terea were married. This story, it's not just about the past. It's about the future. It's about preventing tragedies like this from happening again. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence, there is help available. Resources are listed below. Please reach out. You are not alone. We want to hear from you. Share your thoughts, your experiences, your perspectives. But please, let's keep the conversation respectful. This is a sensitive topic and we want to create a space for thoughtful discussion. Let us know in the comments what you think could have been done to stop this tragedy. If you found this video informative, if you want to see more stories like this, please subscribe, like, and share. Your support helps us bring these stories to light. Let's remember those lost and work towards a safer future. A future where tragedies like this are prevented. And as we close this chapter, let's remember that behind every headline, behind every statistic, there are human lives. Lives that matter. Lives that were lost. And in remembering them, we honor their memory and we strive to make a difference. But what if there was another person, someone outside of the police, that knew what was going to happen? What if they could have stopped it? And why didn't they? What are the secrets that still remain hidden? Our hearts are heavy with the loss of Lacresha Black and Terea Brown. As a married couple, their lives were deeply intertwined, and this tragedy brings profound grief to both sides of their families. We offer our sincerest condolences and wish you strength during this incredibly difficult time. Thanks for watching and sharing. Till next time, stay safe.